Hey guys, welcome back to Casual Yu-Gi-Oh! Today I'm going to be doing a ban list review, or I'm not exactly sure what I want to call it, but just me ranting about things that I think should be banned and things that I think could easily come off the list. So, with some minor changes. So I'll go into first the things that I think will be banned. Anyone that knows anything about this channel and knows anything about me knows that I hate link monsters. So I'm going to try to do three things I want banned and three things I want to come off. So the first of the three, I think the most important thing right now that has to be banned is needle fiber or Halofibrax or whatever you want to call it. That card, it's too easy to get out. It just takes a monster and a tuner and that's it. And then you get that thing out and then you special summon any level 3 lower tuner from your deck. And then you get to also synchro summon, like basically just special summon a tuner synchro from your deck. So people go into the Swarm of Locust thing, or not, so I don't, Desert Locust I think is what it's called, which can rip a card out of your opponent's hand when it's summoned on their turn. So, I mean, that in itself I just think is really degenerate. Obviously, my main problem with links is how generic they are and how any deck can just splash this in there, because what does it take to make needle fiber? Do you run tuners? Cool, and that's it. Like, it's just really retarded. And yeah, I hate the card. And like I said, I hate the link mechanic because everyone can do it. So any link that gets busted, that is retarded and overpowered, every deck abuses it. And that's my main problem with it. And I don't care what anyone says, there is no other monster or spell trap, whatever. Well, spells and traps maybe, because if they're generic enough, then that's why they need to get banned. Like Pot of Greed need to get banned because obviously it's a card that everyone can play. Like the Sixth Sense, when that card was out, every deck could play that, so they were like, okay, cool, and that's a problem, and it gives you too much advantage. So with needle fiber, it's like I said, with links, if any deck can use it, then any deck can abuse it, and it just is a problem for the game. And like I said, it doesn't promote diversity, it doesn't promote healthy gameplay. Like, there's nothing healthy, in my opinion, about link summoning. I know some people complain about how their decks before couldn't do enough, or whatever. I think there was always an answer that we could have given besides just throwing a link monster at the problem. Be like, now you got support, there you go. But yeah, needle fiber is just a retarded card. Everyone knows it's retarded, and there's some other cards that have had to have gotten hit because of needle fiber that I have a problem with. Okay, so that was needle fiber. My second one that I think is most important to get hit is Predaplant, Verta, Anaconda, which is only, both of these cards have only come out since, what, Dual Overload, I think is the name of the set. And yeah, Predaplant, Verta, Anaconda. So I was arguing with someone on YouTube about how the Red Eyes Dragoon monster is going to come out in the TCG in the next couple months, and how people want that card to get banned before it even comes out. They're like, oh, that card's too powerful. And I'm like, if you look at all the replays of what people are doing, most people aren't even using Red Eyes Fusion. They're usually, because Red Eyes Fusion is going to literally be, that's your summon, that's your play. You only get that one guy. And while that's he's an extremely good card, and I'm not denying that. The problem is, there's like everyone else is splashing that in, and the Verti Anaconda's restrictions just say that, one, it takes 2 effect monsters to make it. So any 2 effect monsters that you get, you make that guy. And then you don't have to apply the fusion effect right away. You can wait, do the rest of your plays. As long as the fusion play is the last play that you do, because his effect says after you do that, you can't summon, basically you can't special summon any monsters after you do that effect. So people just wait until they're all done, then do the effect, get out the Red Eyes Dragoon, and that's their board. So they're able to do more abusive shit than you normally would if you just did a regular Red Eyes Fusion play. Like for me, I got my Dark Magician build that I was super psyched. Like, I'm okay, cool, because what I love about the Red Eyes Dragoon card is the artwork looks amazing, and that is literally, if those 2 monsters fuse together, that's what that would look like, and it looks amazing. And he's worth it, and I like that they gave you a benefit off of using the original Red Eyes White Dragon. You get more benefit off doing that. So because of that, Dark Magicians is not a spam deck, it's a back row deck, and a deck that you want to go first, and I'm like, well, that works perfect. And unless you're normal summoning Magician's Rod, generally you don't even want to summon anything your first turn. You just kind of want to be like, cool, set, and then yeah, Red Eyes Fusion, there you go. And I think that's fine. Obviously, if you want to hit it later on, go for it. But I think that's fine for us to have in the game, as opposed to a card that just says any fusion card that's ever in existence, it's going to find a way to abuse it. You have to pay 2,000 life points, I think, to use that effect, but whatever. It's just that any deck is able to do it. Everyone knows that card's retarded, and that's a problem. And if you argue with that, I just don't think you understand the game. No, any 2 effect monsters should equal whatever fusion monster you want. That's just retarded. And then the last card that I have on my list is Borel Sword Dragon. And once again, because I hate links, because every deck can use it, if you look at anybody's deck profile, they'll always have a Borel Dragon, because why the hell would you not run Borel Dragon? Because it's a card that can just win you the game right there. It can just OTK the brakes off anybody because it's retarded. It can attack, switch something to defense, then attack, like you basically get a second attack that turn. It can gain half the attack of the monster. I think it's attacking or something like that. It also can't be destroyed by battle. It can take an opponent's monster. It's retarded, and it takes 3 effect monsters. It's a Link 4, so you have to have already like a Link 2, I guess. But it's just a dumb card. I don't think it should be in existence. Like most of the Link monsters, I don't think they should exist. There's few that are, not as bad where I don't have that big a problem with it. But that card, when you notice that everyone runs, it's like the Nightmare package with Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. Like when everyone runs all those cards in their extra deck, I think Konami, you should see that and go like, that's a problem. We made this too generic. We should change that. And it's just not fun to go up against. Like who's like, oh man, that took so much skill to bring out a Borel Dragon to kill me. Like wow, clap, clap, clap. You got any amount of monsters in the field, and there's no extra deck monster in existence that is like that. Because like pick any, like if there's a powerful rank 4, like like Castell or Silent Honor, those cards might be able to like steal something or get rid of a problematic card, but they don't have enough firepower to win the game right there. And I know that like Borel technically takes more monsters, but he's not specific at all, and that's the problem. So that's pretty much it right there. I don't think we've ever had like anything like that in the game. 8-star synchros are pretty good, but none of them do that effect. None of them do. And if they do have a really good effect, they're usually a little bit more specific than just that. They might require specific tuner or whatever. Okay, so now for the cards that I want to come off the list. So first things first, Glow Bulb. Considering if Needle Fiber gets banned, which it will eventually because the OCG I think limited it already or they're going to ban it. But Glow Bulb is a card that got hit just because of Needle Fiber, and it wasn't like Glow Bulb was a good card. It was a good card that people splashed, but it's not like you would see Glow Bulb in every single person's deck. You only started seeing that once Needle Fiber became a thing. So Glow Bulb, I think, needs to come back. I'm a Sylvan player. The deck really doesn't have the same first turn plays that it used to with a Glow Bulb. A Dinosaur deck, Glow Bulb is very handy if you have that. I know Lightsworns like to play Glow Bulb. So Glow Bulb, I think, is a healthy card. You can only use that effect once per duel, and how it was intended to be played, it's a fine card. I mean, like, it's a great card, but it doesn't deserve to be banned. My second card would be Dandelion. And I know everyone's thinking, well, people are just going to abuse it for links. If you errata Dandelion, because Dandelion was intentionally made to help synchro decks. That was the whole point, was that you could pitch it or do whatever, and it would give you the tokens so you could sync with them. And I think using that, I think it's fine. Plus, in a plant deck, it's a level 3 Earth plant, which is so important because you could use Melee of the Trees, or you could use, like, a level 2 Earth Tuner and go into Nappiest, or level 3 Earth Tuner going to Barkion. There's a lot of cool plays you can do with that, and then the 2 tokens that it gives you is great. And in a plant deck or just a synchro deck, I think that card is fine. It's good, but it's not like the most busted thing ever. In a Link deck, everyone would just use Dandelion and just get the 2 tokens, and then like they'd be so happy for that. And I just think the whole Link mechanic of being able to use tokens is retarded. So if they errata Dandelion where can only the tokens can only be used for a synchro summon, I think would be perfect. And I really don't think a whole lot of people would complain with that. I don't think you would, because synchro players will still be happy, and that's the whole point of why that card exists. And then the last card that I want to see come off the list, which may be controversial, is Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a card that I remember back in the day was a really fun card to use, and then, like they banned it. And I get why they banned it, because, like, if you have a level 7 monster, you can go into Last Word from the planet. For anyone that doesn't know, it says, tribute a monster, special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck with the same level as the monster you summon. Most of the really good fusion monsters have to be fusion summoned, so you can't even get them out that way. Like, I don't know, like, if you got like a level 12 monster, which, there's, I guess, some weird probably ways to get that where you could get like Blue Eyes Ultimate out, but like, there's some cool cards you can get out of that. I'm not denying that, but I think Metamorphosis at 1 kind of gives people imagination as far as like, hey, what can I do with this? What kind of cards can I bring out? But like I said, most of the good fusion monsters cannot just be special for the extra. They have to be fusion summoned first. So you've already taken out, I would say, 3/4 of like the good pool of monsters are not even capable to be brought out that way. So and it's not like instant fusion. Instant fusion is considered a fusion summon, so like you can get out different cards like that. So like Metamorphosis, I think would be fine. It requires a tribute, which is different than instant fusion. You just need 1,000 life points. And yeah, like I said, while you can get out some really strong cards, I mean, they're usually from the older days of Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're not as busted. And so I think Metamorphosis to try at one. I don't think many decks would even, to be honest with you, I don't think most decks would even play Metamorphosis came to one. So I think it'd be fine as a one of, just for people to try out. So that's my list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave down in the comments section what you guys would like to see banned or what cards you would like to see come off the list. I'd like to do these on a regular occasion because I really have a lot of opinions about things. What kills me, guys, and this is probably a separate video I should make, is it bothers me when people say, if you have complaints about the game, just get better. I'm not bitter because, like, oh my gosh, like, I lose. Like, I could use one of my decks and, like, I could have fun and still lose. It's not the winning and losing. It's the, like, were we on an equal playing field or why weren't we on an equal playing field? That kind of stuff. Cards that are just inherently broken. That's like, I don't know. I'm trying to use an analogy, but, like, just because, like, there's no, you can't look back in history and be like every single problem, like if, like, you know, people, I don't want to, like, let's use like slavery, the Holocaust, or whatever. These are extreme examples. I'm just saying that, like, would you tell like the Jews in the Holocaust, you're like, hey man, like, sorry that, like, you know, the Holocaust happened, but like you should have just got better. Like, no, it was a terrible thing that happened, and people had to step into, like, be like, hey, we have to save these people and stop this from happening. Like that was a bad thing that happened. All I'm saying is in Yu-Gi-Oh, I hate that something degenerate could pop up and then people just say like, well, you need to adapt to the game and get better, as opposed to being like, hey, we've gone from what is competitive and what's like a fair and balanced to now just like, this is too easy to get out. Everyone's able to use it. And the people, like, I just don't like the whole, like, you have to use this mechanic or else you're going to lose because this mechanic's inherently better than the other ones. I really have a problem with that because no other mechanic has ever been that way. You never had to use synchros in order to just be better. You could play a different, like, archetype that didn't use sync tuners or whatever, and you were fine. You never had to use XYZs. You could use a different mechanic, and you were fine. Like, XYZs came out. They didn't immediately say synchros don't matter and they're not good anymore. That's not what happened. Don't get me wrong. XYZs were used to fill out an extra deck, but they didn't immediately replace the other stuff. People could still run fusion decks, so fusion's been around forever. The problem is, anytime you can go into a synchro or XYZ summon, you could have also gone to a link summon, and that's my biggest problem, is because it's the most generic. Even pendulum summoning. Pendulum summoning was inherently broken without being checked, but you could still, like, it didn't force you to play that. You could still do your own thing. Links is just the most generic thing ever, so I wish they were checked. Sorry for my, you know, like, analogies of, like, you know, I'm not trying to get into offend people about the Holocaust or slavery or anything like that. I'm just saying that you can't argue that, like, if I say, like, this is busted and this needs to be fixed, your argument can't always be back to me that adapt or, like, quit. And I'm like, there are things that need to be fixed. I mean, like, should we just have, like, 3 Graceful Charity, 3 Pot of Greed, and Exodia pieces all back at 3, and then just tell everyone that loses, like, on a first turn, get better or quit? I mean, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. We have to check the game. They put out product on purpose for it to be broken so people can buy the product that are, like, you know, meta sheep are just like, oh my god, I have to play it. There's a lot of people like that. Don't get me wrong. Like, if something comes out for your archetype and you're like, okay, this card's really stupid, but, like, I want to play it, I get it. It's the generic stuff that bothers me, where everyone uses it, everyone knows it's busted, and they know that it's going to get banned, but they still abuse it anyway. And they kind of, I don't know. There's no moral obligation that anyone has in the game where they're like, oh, I probably shouldn't play this, it's kind of degenerate. Certain cards I just don't have that much fun with if they're that degenerate, where, like, literally everyone I go up against just hates me. It's not that fun. So, yeah, that's my rant on that. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. This probably went a little bit too long, but anyway, have a good one.